Hi, my name is Jay Sugarman, and I want to welcome you to Innovation Showcase. The main purpose of this ongoing series is to inform viewers about exciting innovations and creative individuals across the fields of business, science, technology, education, and the arts. Today, via Zoom, we're fortunate to have as our guest Joseph Reginella. Based in Staten Island, Joe is a highly accomplished sculptor who specializes in mold making. For about 10 years, he's been creating monuments across New York City that commemorate local events that never actually happened, such as the Brooklyn Bridge Elephant Stampede and the Staten Island Ferry Octopus disaster. During the program, we're learning why and how Joe's interest in perpetuating New York City legends came about. We'll view and discuss his engaging and amusing monuments, and in the process, come to better understand and appreciate both how he goes about creating these unique and very appealing sculptures and the extremely entertaining backstories related to these imaginary events. Let's start by meeting Joe. Welcome, Joe. So delighted you're able to be here.
Thanks for having me.
It's been so much fun reading about the wide range of legends that you've created. Really appreciate your sense of humor and imagination. Eager to find out more and have you inform viewers. But before we jump right to that, I think it would be of interest if you'd share maybe just a little bit more about your background, your artistic, professional interests.
Sure. So I've been sculpting since 1985, and my love for horror films, I think you could see somewhere embedded in the sculptures. When I was younger, I loved horror movies, Friday the 13th and whatnot, and I wanted to be a special effects artist. And then I found out you needed to learn how to sculpt to be a special effects artist. So I got into sculpture as a hobby. Long story short, I think in about 1995, I was working in Manhattan as an elevator operator. And in the building, a scenic company had moved in. It's a gigantic building. Scenery company moved in, and I befriended the person that owned it. We became some good friends. He knew that I had sculpture as a hobby, and he said, he goes, we're doing a toy commercial next week, and he goes, we're going to sculpt some landscapes out of styrofoam. And I was like, styrofoam? You can sculpt out of styrofoam? So I got involved with him, and then it's just like a small little community where this guy, that studio. So I've been able to make a living out of this since 1995.
Wow,
Which is
that's
pretty
fabulous.
amazing. Yeah, and I worked on some really, some TV shows, movies, magazine ads, Fashion Week, like tons of cool stuff. Um, and this is sort of my side hobby, so to say. Yeah.
Well, speaking of cool stuff, what inspired you to start creating these monuments?
Oh, wow. Well, it's a long, convoluted story, but uh, so in the the sense of humor of these seemed to harken back to a toy line that I forgot to mention. I also had a toy company. So in the early 2000s, I started a figure line. There was this movement of designer toy makers. So I started a figure line, and long story short, I don't know if this is could
Yeah,
you.
that looks good. Looks good.
So it's something that's, primary colors, looks like your parents would collect, but if you look very closely, he's not, they're doing something very wrong there. Yeah, his name is Smacky Bear. So, yeah. So it's cute little teddy bears doing horrific things. And then it moved into, zombie coming out of the ground, that kind of
Oh
thing.
yeah. Oh yeah.
And then I got some actual music licenses. There's the Ramones,
Oh, that's
the
fun.
teddy bears. And then music license I had the Misfits, which is another punk rock band. There's Teddy Bears, so they're all part of this. I think all in all there were about 35 different characters of bears. So it was a bear community, punk rock bands. So
That's
sort
great.
of like that. That's where I think the sense of humor came in
I
from.
was gonna say, I sense that for sure.
So now in 2015, I had made a bassinet for my nephew, and I have to send you this picture. Anyway, as you can see, this photograph here of baby sliding into the shark's mouth.
Yeah.
Uh, I posted that on Facebook. It was my nephew. Me and my friend are like huge Jaws fans, so it was like, I can't wait to just have some fun here. Put the baby in there and put it on Facebook. And before I knew it, it went like super mega viral. Like fast forward like 3 days later, it's on Good Morning America. It's
Wow.
like it's in the Daily Mirror. It's like in the Hindu Times, Times of London. It's like blowing up insane, and
That's a riot.
people are thinking like, the baby is actually sleeping in this, and what horrible parents these must be. And it's like, wow, it's like people believe anything they see. So that was kind of like the 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 seed of these statues. And I was like, oh wow, it's like that's crazy, but it was a lot of fun. A lot of people got the idea.
You know, we want to enjoy as many of these creations as we might in our time together. So let's start with your most recent one about a gentleman, Nathaniel Katz. And as you're doing it, if you could share a little bit about how you came up just with the story, like from beginning to end, how this developed and what we're able to enjoy as we see it in front of us, the completed statue.
So each individual statue, I suppose I have a different approach to it, but the overall approach is how uh, what do they call a grindhouse film from the 70s was sold. They would paint this crazy, beautiful, attractive poster, but they never had a script. So they would sell the poster to the company, like, damsel in distress, three-eyed monster, and then they'd come up with a script. That's kind of like how I do my monuments. I sculpt something, I come up with an idea and imagine it in bronze, and it's like if it looks absurd to me, kind of like the teddy bears or the Jaws bed, then I know I got something there because it's
Ah,
absurd. Then I'll build the story around it. But sometimes I'll have the story and then come up with the sculpture. But for this, I actually had the two of them together, and my neighbor upstairs is actually posed for me. He's the person that there's a lot of people think that this is looks like geez. Oh boy. Who does this guy look like to you? An author. What's the
oh, Mark Twain.
Mark Twain or Kurt Vonnegut? A lot of people
Oh,
think
Kurt Vonnegut,
a
for sure, for
lot of
sure.
people think it's Vonnegut, but no, it's actually my neighbor upstairs. And the story behind it is I have this long feud with him, and this is so petty that he has a bird feeder in front of the building, and I'm always telling him it's attracting rats because the seeds fall down, and he refuses to believe me, and it does attract rats. So I dubbed him the Rat Man, and I said, you know what? I said I'm going to make a bust of you with crawling with rats, and I did that, and there's this, and then I came up with the story that this particular person is the first person to bring rats to New York City. So I tie it into New York City.
That's fabulous. That's fabulous. And here we can see when you assemble it, and where do you display much of your work? Where are we enjoying this view from?
This is Battery Park. All the monuments, with the exception of the Elephant Stampede, which is in Brooklyn Bridge Park, all the monuments are displayed in Battery Park, which is the most southern tip of Manhattan. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One is it just coincidentally convenient for me because I'm on Staten Island. I'm on the North Shore of Staten Island, and basically all I have to do is take a 20-minute ferry ride with my piece, wheel it over to the park 5 minutes, and I'm there.
Mm.
So it's nice and convenient. The other thing that's wonderful is that Battery Park, unlike most parks in Manhattan, is a huge tourist attraction because you have Statue of Liberty, Ellis Island, We have lots of stuff downtown. So at any given day, you could stand outside for maybe an hour and you could just like count us 500, 600 people walking by you, 1,000 people walking by you in an hour. So within 1 hour, 1,000 people are easily looking at these statues, which is wonderful. And
Wow.
they stop and they take photographs of them. And then that sort of like worms out because they're putting it on social media, and they're looking at these things and they're posting it on their pages, and it's that helps it. That helps
You know,
spread.
just a little bit more before we enjoy another aspect of your creations, which is the backstory, information, documentaries, and eventually pamphlets or newspaper articles that you've manufactured. Just to close the story before we see the little documentary of Nathaniel Katz, just what he supposedly did.
So Nathaniel Katz is credited as the first person to bring rats to New York City. So that's comedy right there. Well, why would you're making a monument to this man that brought rats to New York City. So, the plaque is, I'll read the plaque to you. Would that be all right?
For sure.
Okay. Nathaniel Katz, 1749 to 1817. Credited as the first person to bring rats to New York City, his plan to introduce a new pet to the American colonies went awry as the rodents soon overran the city and later the continent. Though he stood by his attempt to domesticate the vermin to the bitter end, Governor DeWitt Clinton had him catapulted into the Hudson River for his folly. And that's, you know.
It's so fun, so fun. And let me go ahead a second and think it would be well worth showing viewers this short little documentary
Sure.
that again just adds to your backstory, imaginative creation for those who might then pursue wanting to find out more. Well, you've produced this to further convince them. So
downtown in the bustling metropolis of New York City, a curious monument pays tribute to a man whose legacy is often met with disbelief.
Rats have been in New York City since the 18th century.
Nathaniel Katz, a colonial era eccentric, is credited with the introduction of the Norway rat to North America. Known as the Rat Man in England, Katz brought 2 domesticated rats to New York to sell these tame rodents as pets to the colonial settlers. However, his vision was met with disdain. The rats soon escaped, breeding rapidly and infesting the city.
Clearly, the rats are winning.
The dark folks didn't even want to be out here. They didn't think it was safe, but at least they were safe at home.
Seen as a public enemy, Katz faced a grim fate when Governor DeWitt Clinton ordered him catapulted into the Hudson River. Whether he drowned or simply vanished remains a mystery. The monument, believed to be commissioned by his few supporters, now stands near Battery Park. It serves as a bizarre reminder of Katz's failed dream and its lasting impact on the city.
that is so much fun. Just we could talk much more about that, but definitely want to give viewers a little broader sense of the wide range of legends you've created. None other than this one that we see in front of us. And the significance of the date too, the 1963 Staten Island Ferry Octopus disaster. What happened here?
Well, it's a little, well, now it's well known, but at the time it was little known that this happened in 1963, because on the day that this happened, it just so happened to be the day that John F. Kennedy was assassinated. So the media just, kind of swept it underneath the rug. But throughout the years and whatnot, the city has made a right of the wrong, I should say. And there's a little monument down in Battery Park to commemorate this tragedy. And That's pretty much the gist of it. And there's lots of fun things that go along with this one. This was the first one in the series. This is the documentary. There's a lot of swag gifts and whatnot on the website for it. With most of the monuments, I put out brochures and tourist information kiosks. You can see right there. And the Octopus one in particular is for a museum that's on Staten Island, right across the water. And tourists were actually going on this. It's a cultural center, Snug Harbor. It houses a couple of museums, and they were looking for this museum. And I was getting complaints to take it off the website because people were actually coming there. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, they believe this giant octopus pulled this down. This is crazy, you know? So it was a lot of fun. But this one, a few of them, this went super mega viral. The New York Times carried a couple of them, but
Yeah.
this was in Ripley's Believe It or Not. This is in a couple of children's books, some scholastic books. It's pretty amazing. I get emails a couple of times a week from children asking me about this because it's in a textbook that it's basically having children do their due diligence, where some stories are presented and they have to figure out the facts. And one of these is something, you know. So in the book, I am the museum curator. So my my email's there, and they contact me. It's amazing that this came out 2016, and it's just as popular as ever. It's kind of amazing.
No, it's terrific, terrific. And for the sake of time, we're going to move on, but want to let viewers know that in the credits, there'll be a website to find out more information about all your creations, as well as how they might want to obtain some of the fun swag that you were referring to. But there's another fabulous event, the Elephant Stampede on the Brooklyn Bridge. A few words about this imaginative event.
So this happened on the day of the stock market crash in October of 1929.
Yeah.
Yes. And so a lot of the statues that I do, they have a little bit of truth involved with them, and then I, make my story. And so the truth of the fact of this one is, yes, of course, the stock market crashed, and elephants did walk over the Brooklyn Bridge. P.T. Barnum took elephants over the bridge to show. When the bridge was first built, people were afraid to walk over it because they thought it was going to fall down. So they had an idea when the circus came to town that Barnum would march the elephants over the bridge, show everybody it's safe, and that did happen. But in my story, something foul happens, and they run over the bridge and they run down Broadway just at the same time people are throwing themselves out of windows because the stock market crashed, and it's just mayhem going down Broadway. And there's a nice documentary. The story is very involved. It's a good, nice little 7-minute documentary. And there's a walking tour that's involved with this one, where is read by actor and musician David Johansen of the New York Dolls, Buster Poindexter, and he's also famously in the Bill Murray movie Scrooged. He plays the ghost of Christmas Past. He's the cab driver.
Nice.
He's got a great gruff New York voice, and he was kind enough to do the narration for me. It's wonderful, and you can find that on the website too.
Oh, look forward to seeing that. Enjoy this front page of quote unquote the Daily News. What a fabulous creation. Oh, what do you think when you look back after you produce everything involved with these, from your initial idea to presenting to the public? What are some of your reactions to what you've created?
Well, at first I was kind of like baffled that people would believe these things. And then, I just took it in stride, and then I just kind of the one thing that I guess I got labeled in the very beginning was hoax. Okay, or prank, which I really can't stand whenever a news item would label me as a prankster, because there's just so much that goes into this that it's not fair to be labeled a prankster. You know, I'm basically I'm creating a world that I'm like bringing you in, immersive. It's it's really, I hate it's it's really involved, and it's not malicious, so it's not a prank. So it's really more of like an immersive like art, an art exhibit. It's a it's a multimedia art exhibit is what it is, and part performance art, because these pieces, they don't stay there more than 12, 14 hours at a clip. I bring them home, and so these pieces are designed to be broken down. So I don't know if you can see this. This column here is in three pieces,
Okay, yeah.
and the sculpture fits in. The design is the sculpture fits inside of the base.
Ah,
And
okay.
everything needs to be calculated because it has to fit in my SUV and it has to fit on a hand truck. So everything has to be a maximum size. It can't be willy-nilly. So I try to like do the best maximum that I can. So in essence, that is a performance art, because I'm out there, I'm keeping an eye on it, and then I break it down and bring it back home. And people's faces when they do catch me like take this thing apart, they just can't believe that it's not real. It's really pretty interesting.
Have you received any legal pushback from any of your displays?
No, I think I'd like to say that I'm getting a pass because I'm not doing anything to malicious, or it's just for fun. I'm not leaving the pieces out there, and I have a couple. I actually have a couple of pictures. One time, actually more than one time, but the first time I'll remember was after the Octopus got all this press and whatnot. I had brought it out there. All these pieces I bring out there for at least 12 weekends, which that's a lot of work right there. I'm bringing them out, maybe 2 times a week, whatever. And finally, I'm Battery Park because of the Ellis Island, the Liberty, Statue of Liberty rides. They have terrorist task force because of the boat rides. So they have, cars with canines. Finally, the car pulls up where I have the statue with the dog. Guy gets out, and I'm like, okay, he's going to tell me to move it. He goes right next to the sculpture, takes a couple of selfies with it, and then gets back in the car and drives away. I was like, all right, I think I'm safe here.
That's so much fun. What have been some of the challenges in maybe either creating them or eventually displaying them?
The challenges always are size-wise, because I always like to go bigger, like the maximum, and it just can't be done because none of the sculptures could be, the sculptures themselves can be more than 38 inches tall. So they're slightly over 3 feet tall. The depth, they can't be more than 27 inches deep. So I'm always having that design having to be built in, and sometimes I have to cut some corners, or sometimes things just don't work out. But yeah, and a lot of the times I have to, like, if I want to make something very dynamic, that can't, like for instance, the elephants. Originally, the design was that the elephant trunk was going to be up and a man was going to be hanging from there.
Oh,
But when you have something out in the public, you can never like think ahead of what somebody's going to do on it, because little kids climb on these things. They weigh a few 100 pounds, which is good. So if they feel real, but you don't want anything that has like a cantilever to it where somebody can hold on to it. So sometimes you have to change the design of it. All these pieces, like I can show you there. There's threaded rod that goes throughout all the limbs and whatnot, and they're bolted down to the base. And it's it's a lot of engineering that goes behind it as well.
I know we're not going to hear the one you just referenced about wolves in Central Park. Incredible story behind that. We have another one. Viewers can go look at the website, the UFO tugboat.
The
I've
documentaries are,
been-
I love the wolf one and the octopus one are one of my favorite mini documentaries. I suggest you guys
look,
check it out.
look forward to looking at those. Are you working on anything now?
I am working on something now. The only preview that I could give of it is that you see there's a piece of paper that's behind the wolves,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I don't know if you could see there's like some drawing on that paper
faintly.
faintly. Well, that's the next monument, and I drew that as a height reference. That's the highest that I could go if I use that base.
I see.
And I'm actually sculpting it right now, and it has to do with the 1970s and the disco era, and that's all I could say.
Fabulous. What, any anticipation unveiling?
So the time frame for all these pieces usually works like this, and it seemed to be so. I usually dream them up in December, come up with the design January, and then from January until like August, September is usually when they debut. And when I mean, usually I could do them much faster, but the thing is, I'm also like making molds for like other artists, and so I'm basically working in between. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like last year was a little bit slow, so the rat guy actually I got him out like instead of usually getting him out like September, I got him out in June, so he was faster. But I think most likely September for this piece. Hopefully sooner, but if it's sooner, that means I don't have any work. So hopefully September.
That's great. That's great. Well, Joe, unfortunately, we've come to the end of the program. Just have to thank you so much again for taking the time to be here.
Thank you so much, Jake.
Background story of how this all came about. We heard about some of your creations. The others, viewers can find out more online. I know I'm looking forward to watching some of those longer documentaries that I
Awesome.
haven't had a chance to yet. And just want to thank you for sharing and adding just some fun, which I think at these times we're all looking for. So, and making it public too. So,
My pleasure.
congratulations on your efforts, and look forward to the upcoming disco creations sometime soon.
Also, I'll just have to add, this is how the projects are funded, so I
We'll
appreciate it.
definitely look for the swag online. So enjoy. All the best, Joe. Continued success.
Thank you so much, Jay. Appreciate it.
Also want to thank those of you watching for joining us and hope you'll be able to tune in next time.